My Airbnb guest did what? It started with the listing. Cozy spare room in vibrant Wicker Park. I cringed even writing it, but hey, rent was due, and my band Static Static was not exactly setting the world on fire. Chloe, my girlfriend, said it was a good idea. Extra cash, meet interesting people, she had chirped, ever the optimist. David booked it for 2 weeks. His profile was bland, picture of a generic hiking trail, a few positive reviews saying he was respectful and easy to get along with. Perfect. He arrived on a Tuesday afternoon, tall, maybe late 30s, with these unsettlingly calm blue eyes. He had one duffel bag and a small worn leather briefcase. Liam, right? He said, his voice a low rumble. Thanks for having me. I showed him the room. Small but clean, decent-sized window overlooking the alley. I pointed out the bathroom, the kitchen, the usual spiel. He nodded, his gaze lingering on the far corner of the room near the window. Something wrong? I asked. He blinked. No, just nice light. He mostly kept to himself. I figured he was just tired from travelling. I tried to make conversation a couple of times, but he would give these short, clipped answers, then retreat back into the room. He was always awake at odd hours. I would hear him pacing, sometimes whispering, late into the night. I chalked it up to jet lag or whatever. Then the scratching started. It was faint at first, a sort of rhythmic scraping sound coming from inside the walls. It usually started around 2 or 3 a.m. I mentioned it to Chloe. Old building, she said, yawning, probably just settling. But it was not just the scratching. Things started disappearing. A guitar pick I always kept on my desk vanished. Then a book, Bukowski's Post Office, which I swear I had left on the coffee table. I even thought I saw a picture of my mom moved on the shelf. I am usually pretty spacey, so I figured I was just losing it. Sarah, the old lady who lived across the hall, cornered me in the stairwell one morning. That fella's staying with you, she said, her voice raspy. He has been sneaking around late at night. Seen him carrying packages. Packages? I asked. What kind of packages? She shrugged, her eyes darting around. Could not see. Wrapped up tight. Going down to the basement, I think. The basement was just laundry machines and storage units. Mr. Henderson, the super, was a grumpy old dude who never fixed anything unless you practically begged him. I could not imagine David needing anything down there. One evening I was cleaning the spare room. David was out, supposedly at a conference, and I noticed a loose brick in the wall, near that corner he always stared at. It was slightly discoloured, like it had been tampered with. I pried it out. Behind it was a small, shallow compartment. Empty. But it smelled musty, almost like dirt and something else I could not quite place. I felt a chill run down my spine. That is when I told Chloe everything. The scratching, the missing objects, Sarah's story, the hidden compartment. She was concerned, but still rational. Maybe he has got some weird hobby, she said. Collecting things, hiding them, I do not know. But then she found the sketches. She was cleaning his room. I know, invading his privacy, but we were both getting freaked out and found a pad of paper hidden under his bed. They were drawings of our apartment building. Detailed architectural renderings with one apartment highlighted in red, ours. And inside our apartment, the drawings focused on that corner of the spare room, the one with the hidden compartment. She called me at work, her voice trembling. Liam, you need to see this. Now, I rushed home. Chloe laid out the drawings on the table. They were unnervingly precise, and on the back of one, she found a sketch of the hidden compartment, with strange symbols etched around it. I confronted David when he got back. He was even more reserved than usual. What are these? I asked, shoving the drawings in his face. He flinched, his eyes darting around the room. Those are nothing. These are drawings of our apartment, of the hidden compartment in the wall. What are you doing? He tried to play it off. I am just interested in the history of the building. It is an old building, right? I like architecture. Bullshit, I said. What is in that compartment? What are those symbols? He would not answer. He just stared at me with those cold blue eyes. I tried contacting the platform support team, but they were useless. He is a paying guest, they said, and his reviews are generally positive. Unless he is violating the terms of service, there is not much we can do. The scratching got worse. The whispers became clearer, more distinct. I could almost make out words, but they were in a language I did not understand. And I started feeling like I was being watched, even when I was alone. I started researching the history of the building. It was built in the early 1900s, and I found a newspaper article about a tenant who disappeared mysteriously in the 1950s. The article mentioned a hidden compartment in the wall of their apartment, the same apartment we were living in. The last line of the article chilled me to the bone. Police are investigating the possibility of occult practices. That night, I could not sleep. I kept hearing the scratching, the whispers. I got up and went to the spare room. The door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open. David was there in the corner, kneeling in front of the exposed hidden compartment. He had drawn strange symbols on the floor with chalk. Candles flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. He was chanting in a language I did not recognize. "What the hell are you doing?" I yelled. He stopped chanting and slowly turned to face me. His eyes were wide, almost glazed over. He did not seem to recognize me. "You should not be here," he said, his voice a low growl. He lunged at me. I was caught off guard. He was surprisingly strong. We wrestled, knocking over furniture. I managed to push him away, but he came at me again, his eyes filled with a terrifying intensity. Chloe arrived home just then. She saw the struggle and screamed. The distraction gave me an opening. I tackled David, pinned him to the ground. Chloe grabbed a lamp cord and helped me tie him up. We called the police. Detective Reynolds arrived, a weary-looking guy with tired eyes. He listened to our story, his expression skeptical, but when he saw the drawings, the symbols, the hidden compartment, his face changed. "We need to get him downtown," he said. David didn't say a word during questioning. He just sat there, staring blankly ahead, occasionally muttering those nonsensical phrases. Reynolds told us they ran his fingerprints. "Fake name, fake ID," he said. "We're working on figuring out who he really is." They investigated the hidden compartment. They found traces of some kind of unknown substance. They sent it to the lab for analysis. Mr. Henderson, the super, became oddly talkative. He told us that the apartment had a dark history, that previous tenants had reported similar experiences. "This place is cursed," he said, shaking his head. "Always has been." Chloe wanted to move out immediately. I was hesitant. I wanted to know what David was trying to do. I wanted to understand what was going on. A week later, the police released David. Reynolds said they had no choice. He's been diagnosed with a severe form of psychosis. He's being committed to a psychiatric facility. There's not enough evidence to hold him on anything else. They never found out who he really was or what he was trying to summon. The case went cold. Chloe and I moved out of the apartment. We found a place in a different neighborhood, far away from Wicker Park. A few weeks later, I got a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was a single brick. It was identical to the one from the hidden compartment. The scratching started again. At first it was faint, almost imperceptible, but it grew louder, more insistent. The whispers returned too, and I started feeling like I was being watched again. One night I was staring at my reflection in the mirror. I looked tired, haunted, and then I saw it. A subtle detail, almost imperceptible. A slight distortion in the reflection, a flicker of something dark behind my eyes. As if something else was looking back. Maybe David wasn't who I should have been fearing all along. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was always me.